this is such a conversation for so many different pieces. He feels passionate about it as a single man. I feel passionate about it as a married man. And I think the reason why this is a topic is because it ends up talking about the modern day dating that, single people are dealing with, the expectations of men. We've been talking about finances between men and women for, we just haven't done the episode is coming soon.
Right.
So it just leads into so many different things, right? And so kind of in the moment when it was happening, you had a lot of people more people supported the guy than they did the young lady. Welcome to the Clear and Air podcast with D and Q.
I'm Cheesecake Factory.
I'm Q. Listen, by that you should already know what time we're on right now. So listen, we're just gonna jump right into it. I know y'all have seen this whole situation yet again where another person is putting private kind of stuff onto the internet, and now you played yourself. All right.
Congratulations.
So what are we talking about? Talking about the young lady who records herself being on a date with a young man who is taking her to Cheesecake Factory, right? And so, man, just tell us the background and just go into it.
They're on a date. They're on the first date. I guess she didn't know where they was going. I would hope not, because if she had him do all of that. But anyway, they pull up to the Cheesecake Factory. Mm-hmm. He gets out, comes around to try to open her door, as like a gentleman. She locks the door, doesn't open it. Then starts to record. Be like, basically Cheesecake Factory is not a place where you take somebody on the first date. I don't go to Cheesecake Factory.
Somebody that looks like this.
Yes, look like this. Blah, blah, blah. And what I liked about it, he was like, you recording? And then he was like, well, let's talk about it. Like, right. he ain't ducked that smoke. Yeah. He was like, let's talk about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't know, he was he foreign?
He's Indian.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, and he wasn't ducking no smoke.
Nope.
He was like, let's talk about it. So, again, people running the social media, trying to make a viral moment. What happened? You went viral. You sure went viral. But you got all this backlash. Because I was just saying, because she thought one thing was going to happen and it didn't. So she had to come on this, I want to say a podcast or whatever. And she had to clarify what she thought.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yes.
So, this is such a conversation for so many different pieces. He feels passionate about it as a single man. I feel passionate about it as a married man. I think the reason why this is a topic is because it ends up talking about the modern day dating that, single people are dealing with, the expectations of men. We've been talking about finances between men and women for, we just haven't done the episode is coming soon.
Right.
So it just leads into so many different things, right? And so kind of in the moment when it was happening, you had a lot of people more people supported the guy than they did the young lady.
Right.
Okay. However, there were some women, for the most part, who were saying, yeah, why would he take her there? Now, let's bring this up, and then for those who haven't seen it. The bad thing about this is this man wasn't originally taking you to Cheesecake Factory. And what was dope when he stood up for himself was that he showed, I don't know if he showed it on the GPS of where he was going to take her, but he showed where he was going to take her first. And she was like, oh yeah, that's where we should have went. I'm sorry, ma'am. He waited for you outside for a whole hour. Oh, well, I didn't know work was going to take as long. That's not his problem. So you got second best. And I'm sorry. I got to say this much before we start talking about the backlash. What was dope, since we're talking about feedback, my wife brought this to my attention of how absurd it was. Okay? Guess what? My wife loves the Cheesecake Factory. In fact, if there was one closer to where we live, we'd probably be going there twice a month. Okay? Young lady at my job brought it to my attention. She loves the Cheesecake Factory. So that's another thing. It's just so many things to talk about. Let's talk about the backlash, the aftermath. So talk about some of the backlash that she got.
Well, it was kind of, again, we did a recent episode with the mom in the groceries, how she tried to out the dad and put it on social media, and then the reaction she got wasn't the one she thought. People were surprisingly defending the dad and calling her selfish.
Right.
So the same thing with the backlash with this lady, just kind of came off as being ungrateful. Again, a lot of people saying, what's wrong with cheesecake? And I think the biggest thing was people were saying, if your first date is Ruth Chris and all these, Morton's or whatever, all these expensive places, then you always got to stay doing that. You know what I mean? And then I think the biggest thing was people was like, on a first date, you kind of do those type of places because it's not really about the food per se. It's more so the conversation, you getting to know each other, this and that. You know what I mean? You talking and see. So that's why you may do like a coffee date or something that's very chill, very mellow, because it's y'all first time and y'all essentially just talking, getting to know each other. It's not necessarily about the meal. Yeah. It's more so about the experience and the opportunity to talk and get to know each other, see if y'all are compatible or not. Mm-hmm. She, thought she was going to try to embarrass the guy.
Grandstand.
Right. And then just ended up, it turned back on it all the way to a point where she had to come on, I believe, a podcast and kind of defend herself. Yeah. And that was a whole another thing because she on there and, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. If she think she looks a certain type of way and she deserves to eat at certain type of places, more power to you, sweetheart. Now, what I may think about her looks and this and that, and what you may think about it is totally different. But that was the point she was trying to make. She was saying, this does not belong in the Cheesecake Factory. And then she tried to say, I was raised to the man is supposed to provide and he's supposed to treat me like a queen and all this stuff. And, that's...
And we could even link that podcast episode, in the comments. But this was the other thing.
The groceries one? Which one?
No. The podcast.
When she met with the one she's on. Yeah.
But I like my man stayed 10 toes down. He was like, but if you're talking about protect, he was like, look, it's certain things I did. Like I tried to grab your hand. I tried to do certain things. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like you want one without the other. Right. And it can't go that way. So let me talk about first dates for a second because I remember I had this conversation at work a few years ago in the pandemic. Actually, it was a young lady that she was going on dates, right? And it got to be a heated conversation. But I had said, what's wrong with a coffee date? What's wrong with a walk in the park? My thing is, how I felt as a man was one thing, but I posed it as, for her, you might not even know if you want to go sit down and spend an hour or 2 hours with this person eating in front of them. If I'm not feeling you, I don't want to sit there and eat in front of you. I don't want to waste my time. What I was getting from this situation and what happens or my bread. But what I was getting from this situation is that you just going on dates for the dinner. Right. And that's so whack to me that you using somebody, for you to get your meal paid for, which is a whole nother conversation.
And I know women that do that. Like literally don't have no interest in the guy, they just want the free meal. You know what I'm saying? And I think guys are getting hit to that. Yeah. And not and you know what I'm saying, not doing that no more, whatever. Yeah.
So I think it's just problematic because my thing also is if you are expecting for a man to pay, which I'm not saying that he shouldn't, right? First dates and get to know the person if that's what you really out here dating for. If you, what they call them, 304s, if you want to be a 304 and y'all both 304s, then y'all shouldn't have no expectations. But if you out here and you really are trying to find your person, you're really trying to find, I'm not trying to say, on a first date, you're going to know you want to marry somebody. We're not talking about that. But getting to know people, what happened to just, you might decide that you date the person, they're not the person you want to be with, but you might still be friends with them. Like you just never know the value of meeting people. And I feel like in our society now, we don't have a value for life. We don't have a value for people like we should anymore. It's just terrible. Let's talk about this because this was the next thing that happened as a result of that. an entire list was made by women of places where men should not take them on first dates. Can you please share this foolishness with us?
So it's 28 spots, right? I'm just gonna go through it real quick. Cheesecake Factory, Applebee's, Chili's, Chipotle, Olive Garden, the movies, your house, any fast food chain, Buffalo Wild Wings, Wingstop, Red Lobster, a buffet, IHOP, Denny's, the gym, church, Starbucks, coffee dates, ice cream dates, family functions, movie night, a Netflix, Hulu, etc. Somewhere that requires a long drive, bowling, nightclubs, hookah bar, a bar for just drinks, Waffle House, sporting events. My G. Is there anywhere we can go? I mean, what?
Let me say this much thing, and just real quick, because this could be a super long episode. But let me say this much: there are a few places on there that I actually agree.
No doubt.
There are a few
No
that
doubt.
I actually agree.
No
with.
doubt.
And we're not gonna get them to them today, but there are a few places that I actually do agree with.
Right.
I have 2 girls, and it would on a first date, if you drive in 2-3 hours, I got a problem with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like even
Yeah.
with that person, you don't know this
I
person,
know,
trust
yeah.
them. You know what I mean? He'd be driving you to your death, to your slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of that list is a bunch of foolishness.
Yes. I mean, I don't know, bro. I just.
It's problematic. It's problematic. And again, like,
So-
what is the expectation?
I don't, but and I don't knock nobody that do, but I know people that do online dating, and a lot of times when they meet with somebody, it is like over coffee. It's like a coffee date, because again, it's something real informal. You try to get the conversation, see if there's any type of compatibility, and then if not, y'all go y'all separate way. So it's coffee dates, like a bar for just drinks. Like what?
I just, again, to me, it's
Family functions, yeah, cool. Why you around my family?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Some of these were just obvious, like, but then it's like, what are we doing to where there's a list?
Yeah.
Now? You know what I mean? And it's just,
And when we talk about sports, it's not going to be an exclusive list. You're always going to add to it.
yeah.
And so now, can you imagine? I mean, because you date. Can you imagine literally saying, "Well, let me go check this list real quick, so I don't make sure I don't take shorty to this place here." That's too much.
Man, I'm not.
It's too much.
I'm not doing that. I'm not resorting to. First of all, don't give me no list. You know what I'm saying? From the time I meet you and I talk to you in our conversation, I don't know what you like and don't like. As a man, I'm a dope planner. I'm gonna come up with some crazy ideas. You know what I mean? You're not gonna not have fun when you're out with me.
Yeah.
But that's just off of talking to you and realizing what you like and dislike. If you're a sports fan, if the lady is a sports fan, why we can't go to a sporting event?
Right.
And all right, so if we in a city with major sports team, and let's say, just in talking to you, let's say your favorite player is whoever. Let's say it's LeBron,
Right.
and let's say we in DC and the Lakers having to come into town. You don't think it would be a dope date idea if I surprised you and took you to the Lakers game?
Right.
You don't think you would enjoy that? Like,
I'm gonna
what
tell
are
you.
we talking about?
I'm gonna tell you this too, and I think we did an episode back in season 1. I think of how to protect our men, our sons. I think what's very important to me is this: why on the first date should I be showing my entire hand anyway?
Exactly.
Just like you shouldn't be. Watch this, ma'am. Don't you dare throw them drawers down. It's the same thing, and that's not the only thing you have to offer. But watch this, because now when I'm leading with my money, that's a problem. So now we're
creating that expectation.
Listen. So that's that list. My aunt, my cousin. My cousin is almost 70 years old. You would never know if you met her, right? She sent me this list after we had the conversation, because we were having a conversation with her son, who's my cousin, about the dating world and how tough it is and how very discouraging it is, right? And so this was in Boston. 2-3 days later, she sent me another list, and she said, well, the fellas have spoken. So I'm looking at this, and as a response to that list, men have created a list as well. I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'll just read a few things. And it's funny because we talked about in the Joe Smith episode, sex workers. So sex workers on there, okay? OnlyFans girls. This is the list. This is the list of women you should never take out on a date.
Okay.
So let alone what you do on where you go on a first date. Women you should never take out on a date.
Right.
All right. Single mothers. That's tough. Women with tattoos. Women who dress like, I can't see the whole thing. OnlyFans. Women with an Instagram page. Women with certain types of friends. We'll link this later. Let me just do this. Women on dating apps. Women with lists. So all of y'all who subscribe to this list, all right? But this is the part right here. Women who have been engaged, divorcees. I'm not gonna say one of these on here because it's very offensive, and I think let me just say this. I think what happened is, in men's frustration, this list was created.
Right.
I think it's very facetious.
Right.
And obviously, probably men who created this list are men who engaged with women that were on this list. So it's kind of, and see, this is the thing. This is, we can make clear the air. This is the foolishness.
Yes.
What happens is it's a tit for tat situation. Yes. I'm gonna ask this question. Since when did we become where men don't like women and women don't like men?
It's another way to cause division.
Yes.
Between men and women. It was I don't even know. It was just stupid, bro. It was just stupid because now you've created this list, and then like you said, tit for tat. Now the guys created this list, and the list is just, both lists are just nonsense.
Absurd.
Bro. Yeah.
Absurd.
Single mothers don't deserve to go on dates.
Right. Divorcees.
Women with tattoos don't deserve to go on dates. Like, I'm looking at the list, I'm like, that's darn near the majority
of the modern day situation. So do we not like women?
Yeah.
Right. Is there any way I can't take you? Do we not like women?
I'm like, what can we? I hate that we continue to pit each other together. You know what I'm saying? It just creates division. It just creates division, bro. And it makes, it's tough out here, man. It's just tough out here. But again, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Let's clear the air. We're going to say this, right? I think we have gotten so out of hand. And what I in this situation, going back to the young lady, they asked the person who was on the podcast said, would you consider a second date? She said yes, and believe it or not, he said yes. Okay. Now what's crazy is they have been talking a little bit prior to, I think, going on a date. They met at a bar, I believe it was, which was explained in this podcast. And he was the only one confident enough to pull up on her, which says something else. It says something else. We can't expect that there's so much pressure that gets put on men, and then we have to know everything. Everybody is different. And we should treat people as that, which is the point I'm making. You make a list of places where a guy shouldn't take you. Should I not find out? But that's part of the problem. I don't know who you are. And so therefore I can't be creative like how he would be to say, you know what? You've told me this about you. Let me do according and put effort in according to who you are. But when I'm not given the chance to know who you are, I'm figuring it out as we go. You want this luxury lifestyle to be treated, and listen, I teach my daughters to not settle for less. That means something different to each person who has heard it. Because what I'm not going to ever do is tell my daughters that they should be bougie. Okay? What I'm not going to do is tell them, look for a man's hand first before you look for his heart. Doesn't make any sense. What you guys say, man, as we close the air on this foolishness?
again, bro, I think, I've been having a very big issue with this talk about finances and bills and pay for this and provide for this and that, and we're gonna have that episode, so I'm gonna leave it for that. But that was my first thing when I thought about it. And the biggest thing that bothers me about it is it seems to be in our community. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so unfortunate, bro. It's just, it seems to be a constant within our community. And again, it's just pitting us against each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I just, that division, bro, that division. And another thing, I think it also perpetuates the stereotype of black women. You know what I'm saying? Because they could be seen as being, entitled, bougie, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then, her reasoning was saying, well, I was raised and brought up to do this and that. Okay, cool. I think, as like you said, as a father, a black, strong black father who has daughters, you should raise them to make sure that they demand respect and this and that and be treated well and all that. We get all that. And you should be. And as men, we should be doing that to our women. But it just, it came off so condescending entitled. And then again, bro, why are you want to run and record it, run and put it on social media, and the only reason you trying to clear it up now because it ain't hit like you wanted it to. And people called you out for that nonsense that you did. Right. You know what I mean?
And why is it a lack of respect? A restaurant choice equates to a lack of respect or the way you were raised?
Fam.
That don't make no sense.
And then you up here, like, I've maybe been to Cheesecake twice in my life. Like, it's a nice restaurant. They got good food. The cheesecake is crazy. Like, what are we really talking about? What are we? But again, to each his own. If you don't think the best of cheesecake, okay, cool. But the way you tried to play homeboy, and I love that he ain't ducked that one. It's like, yo, let's talk about it. But yo, stop recording. Stop recording and trying to run and put it on social media. Because now you got millions of people's opinion now. Yeah. And now you're going to always be known as the Cheesecake Girl.
Played yourself.
Played yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself. Yeah. I want us, people, let's stop. We gotta recognize these tactics, these division tactics. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be smarter, man. Let's be smarter. Let's be kinder. Let's be more compassionate to each other. Like, let's stop trying to play each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just.
This ain't the way it's supposed to go.
I can't stand the narrative, bro. Yeah. I can't stand it, and I hate that it's always a narrative that's in our community. It just causes division within our community.
There's so much more we could say, and there's so many more topics to tap into. I'm gonna ask that you make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, okay? Make sure you're doing that for the full episodes. Also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts is where you find the full episodes. We're gonna ask this question too, though. If there's topics that you want us to talk about, leave them in the comments. Put them somewhere where we know, because we'll take those into consideration. Also, make sure that you're following us, that you can see the clips that we post of the full episodes on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We love to see you. We love you to become a part of the Clearing the Air family. Let's help leave a legacy, man. We got to do it. All right? Peace.
Peace.